Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for being here. All right, we've got John Brodsky, country manager, Finder.com, on the show. John is the country manager, meaning the United States, leading the company's growth across the core niche categories of international money transfers, personal loans, credit cards, and shopping comparisons. John, welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show, excuse me.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'm really glad to be here.
All right, give us some background. I'm glad you're here too, because you dovetail with another company we're in business with that does rewards, but you do something different than what they do. Give us your background before we get into Finder.com. Then please walk us through the services that you provide.
Sure. So my personal background is that I jumped around a lot. I started my career in venture capital and private equity, got tired of firing portfolio company CEOs, decided to go become one, and grew a couple different companies, and then went into corporate America for about 10 years, and then said I'd had enough, and I wanted to go back to the startup world. So I joined Finder, and we've been growing like gangbusters ever since. It's been awesome.
Tell us about Finder.
Sure. We are a comparison site that helps you save money on pretty much anything you'd actually spend a lot of money on. So there's the big ticket items like loans, credit cards, and stuff like that, where we can help find you a much lower rate. There's the small items that you might spend a lot of money on over the course of the year, like sweaters. And then there's big ticket items like mattresses and a wide variety of other products that we help people find better deals on.
That is amazing. How many Americans are using credit cards to receive points and rewards this year?
There are about 72 million have a credit card program just because of a loyalty program. So just because they want to use points, there's about 72 million people who are carrying a credit card around in their wallet.
Wow. All right. That's your market. And tell me about the penetration that you're having with that market and what you guys are doing to stay on top of your game.
We don't really discuss our own market penetration numbers. We have been growing like crazy. But what we do is do an awful lot of surveys to help people understand what the actual market looks like, so that we're not keeping everybody in the dark about what the entire universe is here.
Okay. All right. On average, how much are Americans spending when they swipe their cards to receive points and rewards, and what part does that play with what Finder is doing?
So on average, people spend about $2,400 a year just to get rewards, which adds up to about $175 billion per year. And what we would do here at Finder is we take a look at what they actually want to spend money on, what their goals are, if it's travel, if it's cash back, and find them a card that's going to get them a better deal on that. So if you are somebody like me who travels all the time, you might actually benefit from having a card that has a high annual fee relative to some other cards, but gets you all those airplane lounges, gets you a pre-clear or global entry credit, and also gives you 2 to 3 times your dollars spent on mileage. So that way you can take not just yourself, but your whole family. Whereas if you are someone who is not going to travel that often and just really likes the idea of getting rewards, we probably steer you towards a cashback card that gives you 2% cash back or 1.5% cash back, depending on what your credit score is. We take a deep look at who you are and what you could really qualify for. We don't want to get your hopes up. If you have a bad credit score, you've come out of bankruptcy, you simply just been carrying a ton of debt, you're not going to qualify for the best available rewards cards out there. So we'll help you find a card that will let you step up into where you want to be over time as well.
Can I put parameters on this? In other words, let's say that I get all these credit card requests in the mail, but 90% of them I throw them away, and I'm only looking for those. Let's say, give me travel miles or give me 50,000 travel miles, and can I put parameters on there and work the Finder in that direction?
Yes, you can. You can go and say, hey, I only want to know the cards that are going to give me this particular award. One of the ones that we're coming out with shortly is just give me travel cards that will reimburse me for the global entry program. I don't know if you travel much internationally. I just came back from a short trip to Canada. It was supposed to be a 4-hour trip, and I spent 2 hours in customs on the way back. And I sat there and I said, all right, I need to look at which of my cards is going to reimburse me for this because I can't do that again.
Yeah, no, I definitely got the global entry. What about banking and investments and cryptocurrency? Because I see that's on your website here.
We do a ton of work in cryptocurrency. We're one of the market leaders in helping people find ways to trade various cryptocurrencies and then trade it back into their local currency, whether that's U.S. dollars, Australian dollars, British pounds, or pretty much any other currency that's available on the planet. So we do in-depth analysis on what each currency that's out there that's actively traded is for, where they're trying to go, how it trades relative to other cryptocurrencies, and give you a whole framework for, does this make sense for me as an investment? And of course, cryptocurrencies are very volatile, and they make sense for not a lot of people as a long-term investment. But we have a ton of people who like playing it on a short-term basis, and we know of a number of people who are just making tons of money. I mean, the trading volume that we see going through our site is immense.
What about money transfers? Because when I was, let's say I was in Italy a couple of months ago, that can get expensive going in there and moving money. And I know that there's programs out there where there is no expense in changing U.S. for euro or pound or things of that nature.
That is true. So we are actually one of the market leaders in money transfer as well. And because we have such a commanding position in that industry, we're able to get our users exclusive deals, which are no-fee deals, significantly reduced fee deals, or better margins on their trades and money transfer, because each of these companies works by basically buying and selling currency and hoping that during the brief period of float when you're moving the money from the U.S. to Italy or wherever else you're going, they're going to make a profit on that. We've been able to negotiate exclusive deals with companies like World First at Finder to make sure that you have zero fees. So you can just transfer it for free. You're going to get a market rate, and it's great. It just shows up in your Italian bank account the next day. If you're more interested in going and getting cash, we have deals with companies like World Remit, which will just have cash pickup pretty much everywhere in the world. And we also work with a number of specialists for some of the 170 countries we work with, where it's sometimes a little bit harder to transfer money into them because of a long-standing difference of banking opinion between the U.S. and those countries. So places like Brazil, it's generally much harder to move money into. We've been able to find ways for our customers to move money in there inexpensively and often.
Okay. As I'm assuming, I'm looking it up right now, but is it Finder for the app, the mobile app?
We don't have a mobile app, so we just work on a website, and you just go to finder.com. It works great from your phone. In fact, most of our customers come to us from a search on their phone.
Okay. All right. So just click through and then put it. So, but can I use my phone, because I can access the internet, to use all the features that you've got, right? Transfer money.
Yes, you can.
Okay, let's do this.
And we optimize every single thing for the phone, because most of our users and most of us here look at the phone first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got more questions. We got another segment to go through, so let's take a pause here now, John, and then come back. And if you would start us off with the banking and investments. What you're doing in there? Because I see a whole bunch of subchapters there that we could talk about. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We'll be right back with John Brodsky, Country Manager, Finder.com. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Segment brought to you by Tycon Partners. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break. Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. All right, I've got John Brodsky, Country Manager, Finder.com with me. All right, John, where we left off, we're going to talk about banking and investments. I've been all over your website over the break, and there's more I want to talk to you about. But let's start there. Savings, checking, trade shares, robo-advisor, and small business banking. Walk me through this trade shares thing. What's going on there?
So trade shares, we are just launching that today, or actually not today, but in the very near future, where we're actually help people find ways to trade shares of stock, also foreign exchange and commodities, much more cost effectively. So most of us, when we go and we start trading, we go one of two routes. We either have a broker who's either a friend or a friend of a friend, and we go through them, or you see an ad for a company like E-Trade or Scottrade or one of the other ones, and you just say, I'm going with that. If you are younger, you've probably been going on to Robinhood or Acorns instead of an E-Trade. Mm-hmm. But you're basically doing this all through word of mouth, and you're not really getting a very good picture of the services that are offered, as well as what your actual fees will be over time. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes into stock trading that's beyond just finding a stock and doing the evaluation, which in and of itself is very, very difficult. But there's an awful lot of tax implications. There are speed implications for using different brokers, and so on and so forth. So we help you compare all of those things so you can figure out, this is actually the right one for me because I want to be a day trader, or this is the right one for me because I really just want to go to a robo-advisor. I want to put the money in. I don't want to think about it. I want to look like every single quarter and say, hey, that's how much my money has grown, or hopefully grown a lot. And that's what we help you do in the trade shares section of our site at finder.com.
That's so cool. You haven't even launched it. We're talking about it. That's what really makes me tick. All right, what about the robo-advisors?
So the robo-advisors, it's one of those really new kind of ideas. They've really only been around in the last decade. And the basic idea behind these guys is pretty similar to what Vanguard has been doing for a really long time, which is super low-cost investment, and we reinvest for you, and we do some automation for taxes. And there's a number of them out there now, and we compare them for you, and we say which of these is the right one for you. And it really comes down to how much money you have to invest at that time, and how much they're going to charge you in fees, because many of the other services are fairly similar. There are some nuances, especially if you're very wealthy, where you're going to want a much better tax service out of one of those robo-advisors than you would get from kind of the lower and less expensive, no-frills ones.
How do you get, I was talking to a robo-advisor today, and how do you get on the list? I mean, because there's some good stuff out there that just, the big boys just don't won't let them in because they don't have 100 million under management yet.
That's true. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by good stuff. Are you talking about IPOs, or are you talking about something else?
No, robo-advisors, people that have proven processes with money behind them. They're just not big enough for Fidelity or Schwab or Merrill Lynch to pick them up and say they're in our portfolio of recommended robo-advisors. How does somebody get on the list with you to be chosen from the people that you're showing your service to?
Got it. So we are an editorially independent company.
Mm-hmm.
We're privately owned. We're totally bootstrapped, which makes us answerable to no one, which means that when we're finding companies for people, we're doing it because we did a lot of research. We spent tons and tons of time on the internet. We spend a lot of time doing secret shopping, and we often try these services out for long periods of time before we'll go and recommend them. We have writers who have been in those industries for quite a long time and know the landscape well. And we combine all of that to figure out which one works best for you in your situation. And then we write an article for you so you can make that decision on your own, because I'm not going to presume to know enough about your financial situation just because you found us on Google. We work hard to make sure that you have every piece of information at your disposal so you're ready to make a decision by the time you're done reading our articles.
We have a minute left, and it's just your first interview, not the last one. I see a lot of synergies here with what you're doing, but real quick on I think you have an affiliate program or partner program, right?
That is how we make money. Yeah, we generally get paid when we've sent a paying client over to one of the companies that's listed on our site, mm-hmm. And we will only work with ones that we think are doing right by their customers.
I would love to be on your site.
I would love to have you on our site. Let's definitely talk after the break.
Okay. All right. Let me get through with the show, and I'll give you a call.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Michael.
John, glad you came here, and I love your service. I want to participate.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Michael. I really appreciate you shouting out Finder.com today.
You got it. All right. This has been John Brodsky, Country Manager, Finder.com. I love the site. I'm going to participate.